Hi, and welcome back to PMC Knives and Tools. On the table today, I've got every single multi-tool in my collection. That's every folding plier multi-tool, should I say. So I'm not including things like the Milwaukee fastback Stanley knife that's got the utility knife that's got the screwdrivers and bottle openers. I'm not including Swiss Army knives and Swiss champs and stuff like that. Just folding plier, Leatherman style, if you like, multi-tools. I'm just going to have a look at each one, have a chat about each one, and go through the details of each one. I've got no plan in place for which order I discuss them in. I've got no plan in place for what we're really going to talk about. I'm just going to do it off the cuff and let's see how we go. So I'll start off just with this Leatherman Skeletal CX. This is one that I did a video about a few months back. I had the Leatherman Skeletal Standard in the Coyote Desert Tan colour. That's the one that's got the partial serration, and it comes in the normal Leatherman 440 steel. That broke, so I sent it to Whitby Knives, who handle the UK Leatherman warranty, and they don't do a repair on it, they just offer you a new one. They didn't have my model in stock and asked me to have a look at their website and pick whichever one I wanted. So naturally I picked the Paradise, this colour it's called. It's kind of a aquamarine and peach. The Leatherman Skeletal CX is the one I went for. It's increased blade steel quality. It's 154 cm and it's the full plain edge as opposed to the partially serrated, which I prefer. So absolutely love the Skeletal. I try not to work this guy too hard just because I'm so fond of it. So I don't take it to work. I work in the building industry and I'm quite hard on my multi-tools. So usually I take a cheaper multi-tool to work with me because I tend to beat the living shit out of them. So I don't want to damage this guy because I'm a bit precious about it, but I absolutely love it and I carry it regularly when I'm not working. So there you go, one hand opening, very much based around the pocket knife, the skeletal design rather than the plier, I would say. You can see that in the ergonomics of the shape of it when it's open. You see it's got a finger groove there and fits in the hand more like a pocket knife than anything else, and it's of course one hand opening too. So yeah, the skeletal definitely bridges the gap between multi-tool and pocket knife, and probably is based around being a pocket knife first and foremost. I love it. Can't get enough of this guy, can't recommend it highly enough, and the fact that they gave me an upgrade on a more expensive model in exchange for mine was just a nice little sweetener as well. Love that guy. Let's just go in order that they're sitting on the table. This is unbranded, but I have seen them sold online under various brand names, one of which was Die Camping or Day Camping. Just gonna have a sip of coffee here. This is my Dumbarton Football Club coffee mug. My favourite football team won the Dumbarton. Excuse me. I have seen this sold online under various names, one of which was Day Camping or Die Camping, DAICAMPING. And I've seen it sold under the name Shard or Shared. A lot of the time with these Chinese-made multi-tool brands, the names in English are, a bit of a flung together word really. So this one carries no brand. This is actually my second iteration of this one because I really liked the first one, which I bought for £11 from AliExpress, and I was using it at work and I managed to break, carelessly, my own fault, the file, snapped it off trying to use it as a pry tool, and then when I took it home and took it apart to try and repair it, couldn't get the plier spring back together properly, and in frustration I threw it in the bin. And I bought another one, and it turned out the second one I bought was cheaper. This was actually £5, if you can believe that, which is an incredible price for a fully formed, fully functioning, really useful and quite well built multi-tool. The price of these things varies all the time, but this one's a little novel in that it has this side-mounted spanner or wrench for all you Americans out there, on the side, which I've also used as a bottle opener on occasion, just for fun, just because I can. It has a bottle opener on it. I didn't need to do it, I just wanted to. It's spring-loaded pliers, has the replaceable plier cutters. Where you would buy more, don't know, probably AliExpress if I had to guess. Has a built-in Phillips #1 and a good sharp awl, both of which lock in place. I'd prefer a Phillips 2, but Phillips 1's fine. And here, what do we have? Can opener of questionable quality. You need to really apply quite a lot of force to the can when you're using this one. If I sharpened this, however, to be more piercing, then it would work far better. And it has, of course, a little slotted screwdriver on the end and a wire stripper. Probably never used that, but so as I say, the can opener in the past with a very similar multi-tool, which I'll show you at some point also in this video, which is clearly made in the same factory because it has a lot of the same parts. I found the same issue of it being too difficult to open cans, but I sharpened it on my grinding wheel, and lo and behold, it then opened cans no problem. So that can easily be remedied. Slotted screwdriver and bottle cap lifter, and the most useless tool of all, the string cutter, seatbelt cutter, whatever you want to call it. I never used one, never know why they include them on any tool. Completely pointless when you have a knife and scissors, which this does. So, pocket clip is added on the outside. You could realistically move that if you wanted to any of the other sides. It has this side-mounted spanner that we talked about. A nice little saw, cuts fairly well. The teeth do bind a little, but as cheap multi-tool saws go, it's pretty good. A lot of the cheap multi-tool saws sometimes are pretty useless. Good pair of scissors that lock open and are spring loaded, and they'll cut with ease. Really like those. A file with slotted screwdriver and rule. Not a great lover of these things. The files tend to be very mediocre. Now, a file as a standalone tool are made of hardened steel. These clearly aren't. The multi-tool files never are very good, and if you've watched my channel for any length of time, you will have heard me complain about multi-tool files before. Again, the rule, tiny. I'm not going to use a 4cm rule, am I? That's just silly. So, yeah, realistically, a slotted screwdriver is all you'd ever use this for. Maybe filing down a thumbnail if you were so inclined. Not really my cup of tea. Hence why on my first version of this one, I did use this as a pry tool, because I thought, well, it's got no other useful purpose for me, but it did cause it to snap right here. So there we go. And one-handed opening blade, which has a liner lock. You've all seen those before. Opens nice and smooth, deploys well. No idea what the steel is, it wasn't listed, but I would guess 3CR, something like that. Nothing fancy, certainly a cheap steel, and you can see in here, if you look where it's been formed, the lines of the presumably mould that it's cast in. It takes a nice sharp edge. It doesn't keep the edge long. Very poor edge retention, but very, very easy to resharpen. It comes in this rather nice little sheath. It's got elasticated sides, Velcro closing, and a belt loop. So for literally £5, the first one cost me 11, which I broke, and then I replaced it with the exact same one for £5. Incredible value. This guy here, I think you might have seen this on my channel before as well. This is from a UK supermarket called Asda, which is part of Walmart, the global US brand, or at least was part of Walmart. It may have changed. I think there might have been a buyout. Can't remember, don't care. So this is their in-house unbranded one. It will look familiar to those of you who have seen the old Gerbers. I forget the name of that particular Gerber, but they look suspension, maybe? Anyway, looks a heck of a lot like this. So £9, very cheap, very simple, spring loaded with the exposed spring there. UK legal non-locking tools. A very sharp little knife, actually. I've bought a couple of these in the past. One to give to a guy at work, my former apprentice, one to give to my nephew, and one that I took apart and used for parts. So this is probably the fourth one I have bought. There you go. This one just lives in the glove box of my car. I don't really use it, but it's there in a pinch if I need it. Phillips screwdriver, slotted screwdriver. These are non-locking, so they can be a little bit precarious. If you're doing some screwdriving, it might flop closed on you, which is always a nice way to clip your fingers. Pathetic file that's neither rough nor has a slotted screwdriver on it, so again that would be a pry tool and nothing more. Decent enough pliers. They don't open super far, but they can grip, they can turn, they can cut wire. So the saw on this is pretty rubbish. It would be fine probably on thin branches, but having experimented with it at work with the one that I got from my former apprentice, on construction timber like CLS, C16, it does nothing, hopeless. It binds up too much. But on thin branches in your garden, it might do a job for you. But then if they're that thin, would you really need a saw? A really thick slotted screwdriver, which they have tried to grind down a little, but haven't really managed to do, so it's basically just a really fat slotted screwdriver. And an awl, which has no... they've made it look like it's got an edge, but it actually doesn't really have an edge, and it doesn't have much of a point, so not fabulous, but there's something kind of novel about these that I like. Not quite sure what it is, hard to put into words. Intangible maybe. Comes with this little cheap case, which is rigid to some extent. I suspect it's cardboard inside the nylon pouch that keeps it in that shape, and button fastening. So if you are someone who wants to get a multi-tool for someone as a gift, you know, maybe it's Father's Day and you want to get them something on a budget, go into Asda and pick one of these up for £9. It's not terrible, I have to say. It's not great, but if you're not a knife guy, if you're giving it to someone who's not a knife guy, who just would appreciate having a novel little tool, can't go wrong. The next tool, Mini Sailor. I like this one, carry it a lot. Has this good little pair of folding scissors, which are spring-loaded. They have gone dull recently, after quite a bit of use, possibly my fault. And irritatingly, in order to sharpen them properly, you have to dismantle the scissor. And there's a tiny little spring just about the width of the diameter of the screw in the pivot there, which you have to line up properly when you put it back together to get it to be spring-loaded again. So a bit of a faff to sharpen them, and they don't cut now as well as they used to because of that. But I have carried it extensively, used it extensively, and it is quite a nice little tool. Tiny little spring-loaded pliers, no internal tools because it's too small for that, but it does have external tools. Oh look, the ubiquitous multi-tool file. Oh how I love them. Not completely useless, can't file anything with it, but it will turn slotted screws just fine. Again, if you've watched my channel for any length of time, you'll know that I enjoy slotted screws as much as I enjoy multi-tool files. Hate them. Decent little blade on it, non-locking, UK legal, takes a good edge. I sharpened this one recently on a ceramic. It's quite a nice little cutter. Nice and slicey, hollow grind. It has a sort of a lamb's foot, sheep's foot almost type blade shape. The size of it, it fits well in the fifth pocket in your jeans, you know, the little watch pocket on your jeans. It's got one of those flat two-dimensional, obviously they're not really two-dimensional, but one of those flat two-dimensional Phillips screwdrivers, which works okay. None of these tools lock, but they do have a quite positive snap in place using a kind of a wedge on the back, a little slot on the back. And there's one last tool in here, which is kind of a combination tool. It is a bottle opener, bottle cap lifter, and can opener in one. I used this in one of my videos recently, the cut testing video, where I just showed myself testing the blades on various different knives and tools. And this one does actually open tins with success. It's built fine. So mine's got a little bit of walk and talk a little bit of wiggle now over a couple of years of carrying use, but as a little UK legal handy little thing to either throw in your fifth pocket or put on your keychain. I don't really like carrying a multi-tool on my keys. I think it makes them too bulky, and I already have very bulky keys. But yeah, it's a good little tool. Not super expensive, but not super cheap either. They're about £30-ish. But you get what you pay for. It's a decent tool. Another quick sip of my coffee. That coffee's good. Just a shame that Dumbarton Football Club are rubbish this season. If you follow football, that's soccer for our American friends, you will know that Dumbarton are having a very troubled time on and off the park this season. But we won't get into that today. This is the SOG Reactor. The SOG Reactor is sort of built and designed and released to be a bit of a competitor to the Skeletal. And I think I have done a comparison video of these two in the past with my old Skeletal, my Coyote Desert Tan one. In fact, I know I have, so if you would like to see that direct comparison video, feel free to look on my channel for it. So it is based around a folding plier. It has SOG's kind of patented cog mechanism that increases the torque that you have available on the pliers. You'll see it also on the Power Pint and other SOG models like that. Pliers work well, they open to that's their fullest extent, although obviously you wouldn't, chances of you opening them to that extent and holding it this way is pretty slim. It has a crimper, it has a wire cutter which works well. It's light, it fits in your pocket well. It has this deep carry pocket clip. Not super keen on the SOG branding on the pocket clip. I think it's a bit tacky, but it doesn't bother me a huge amount. One side of the tool is thicker than the other, which is again true of the Skeletal also. This is not, however, the screwdriver. This is a bit holder only. It's just storage. It comes with this double-ended bit, and you use it as a screwdriver between the closed end of the folded plier. There are magnets here and here, and you place the 1/4 inch bit between the magnets, and that's how you use it as a screwdriver, which is a little novel, I guess. They do recommend that you don't use the bit in the leg as a driver, and you can see why, because it's just thin stamped metal, die-cast metal of some form, I would think, so not strong enough to do that anyway. It has a weird bottle opener. They've also thrown this in just as like, oh, everything needs to have a bottle opener. So this is it here. This is a cap lifter. You kind of pull the caps backwards. It works, but it makes a bit of a mess when you open a beer. It'll kind of spill. This lock here either allows the blade to be openable or not. So that's it in the locked position. As you can see, the lines lining up with the padlock. If you slide it down to the unlocked position, then the blade can deploy. The blade is 3CR or 7CR or something like that. I can't remember the specs. I should have looked them up before the video, but I didn't. It's a hollow grind with a swedge, a bit of a reverse tanto type shape, but that's purely aesthetic. It does have a bit of jimping on the top. Takes a wicked sharp edge, doesn't hold it. Again, edge retention on cheaper steel, not brilliant, but really fun to use, really comfortable in the hand, great ergonomics, good size. Look at that grip there. I like this one a lot. Use it for lots of sort of rougher tasks because it's a cheaper blade. I'll do, you know, stripping down all the cardboard recycling and stuff with this guy. Just a simple liner lock on the blade which disengages easily. So quick deploy, good ergonomics. Deep carry pocket clip, one position only, and not very large, as you'll see. It's smaller than a Skeletal, and a Skeletal is smaller than kind of a full-size Leatherman, so it's a bit of mid-size multi-tool. Nice one, I like that one. This one arrived a few months ago, haven't really carried it yet. I sort of swapped it to my wife. My wife has kind of started carrying a multi-tool because I do. She's kind of seen the usefulness of it, I guess. This was really cheap on AliExpress. The brand was called Marten, Maarten, which to me sounds Dutch, but it's very much Chinese. There's no specs listed as to what it's made of. It's a sort of a slip joint type, in fact it is a slip joint mechanism, with a nail nick. Just a fairly cheap 1.5 inch blade. Takes a fairly good edge. Haven't used it much. I would imagine, educated guess, it wouldn't hold the edge for very long. Has a stop there. Novel little kind of diamond nail file here, which is kind of neat. You would almost miss it if you weren't touching the texture of it. Carabiner here, which doubles as a bottle opener. Has a little bit of jumping on the bottom like you would see on a Leatherman Surge, as though to imply that you could pound things with it, but I wouldn't recommend that. I just get the impression it wouldn't work. Phillips driver built in here, which is also part of a bottle cap lifter, bottle opener. Inside you've got a little spring-loaded plier. Perfectly comfortable, very light. Not too much rattle and roll, not too much walk and talk. I can't say too much about its performance because I really haven't used it. But it's quite neat and it was extremely cheap. I kind of swapped it to my wife. My wife had been carrying my next Tool Mini Sailor, and I kind of said, I'd quite like my Mini Sailor back, and swapped her this one. So she kind of throws that in her handbag. The Leatherman Squirt PS4, I mentioned this in a recent video. I had wanted one for ages. They've been discontinued for ages, and an Irish gentleman on a Facebook group for Swiss Army knives, I'm sure, Swiss Army knife collectors, had one to sell, along with a huge batch of second-hand Swiss Army knives. So I got in touch with the guy, made him an offer. It wasn't in great condition, came to me with rust spots all over it, and the blade was in real bad shape. These came originally chisel ground, so they're only sharpened on one edge. I've since changed that and put just an ordinary grind on it, with you'll see the kind of almost mini serrations. I used the carbide pull-through sharpener because it was in such poor shape. It was all full of chips and dings and stuff that I just wanted to get a nice quick sharp edge on it. Non-locking, tiny, the smallest multi-tool I own, keyring sized. Does have a sort of full complement of tools. The scissor on mine, one of the reasons it was so cheap second hand is because the scissor spring is snapped, so it doesn't have the you can't function up and down. You can still use the scissor in lieu of that. I may get round to fixing it with perhaps soldering repurposing a paper clip and soldering it in place was my idea. If I get round to it, we shall see. A little slotted screwdriver and a little mini bottle cap opener. This being so small does make it slightly awkward, but it does work. I have tested it. A little sort of 2D Phillips, which works okay, not great, but fine. And last but not least, on the outside is a file. Now this file actually works, believe it or not. I know you might be shocked to hear me say that, because I have said repeatedly that I test multi-tool files, but this one at least is aggressively enough cut that you can actually file things down with it. Leatherman showing the difference there in their quality to some of the cheaper brands. And spring-loaded pliers, a lot of spring-loadeds here, which sit like that, but they actually open a bit wider, so you can get them surprisingly wide. And the wire cutters cut really well. Love this little tool. This has been in my fifth pocket of my jeans pretty much most days, no matter what else I'm carrying. This has been getting lots of pocket time. Right, let's start over here. This is the one that's pretty much identical to the one that I showed you here. They're clearly made in the same factory. You can see that they're parts-wise basically interchangeable. And I'll show you the blades, for example, are the same. So obviously made by the same production company. So we've seen this one, so I'll put this one back and we can get into the weeds of this one. Now what appealed to me about this one was the cool blue scales on one side. I thought that was neat, so I bought it. Really liked it, actually enjoyed it a lot. And then when my wife wanted a full-size multi-tool, I suggested to her that she take my Leatherman Wingman, but she wanted a full plain edged blade. She's a lady after my own heart, prefers a plain edged blade. So I gave her this, but I had modified it to make it UK legal for her to carry around every day. So the blade is 3 inches, which is fine. And I've taken a penny washer and used that to negate the liner lock. So I'll just show you here on the scissors. The liner lock pops out when you open the scissors, which locks them into place, which is exactly what it would do on the blade. But I undid this Torx head screw, removed the blade, removed the existing washer, which was just to help it open and close and deploy properly, and used a wider, thicker penny washer that sits over the liner lock and keeps it permanently depressed. And then I put the screw back in it nice and tight. So now it acts purely as a friction folder. So one of my viewers recently had asked me how I modified my Leatherman Wingman previously to be UK legal. And I promised him I would make a video to show him. I haven't got around to it yet, so I will tag you in the comments, and I apologise for that. But basically, this is the how-to. First of all, pick a knife where you are comfortable to try for the first time. You don't want it to be, you know, a really valuable one, and you know, you make a mistake and struggle to get it back together. But it's a simple process. So you'll need 2 Torx drivers, one at each side, to undo the screw. Remove the screw, which takes the blade off. Take out the existing small thin washers and just use a slightly larger diameter washer that's just large enough to cover the liner lock, to keep the liner lock permanently depressed, and then put the blade and screw back in and tighten it up. And that's it, UK legal mod. It now acts as a friction folder and doesn't bother the police because it's not locking. So there you go. And again, 3-inch blade. The scissors on this one are the exact same as the model that I showed you that's identical to it. Spring loaded, locking, good quality. The blade is the same, takes a good edge, doesn't hold it long. Pocket clip on the outside. One position only, I don't think you could move positions on this one. Same pliers with the spring loaded mechanism and replaceable cutters. These are good pliers, I like these ones. And the same internal toolkit. So the Phillips one, the awl, the can opener, the bottle opener, and the pointless string cutter. Now this is the one I was telling you about that I had slightly modified the can opener. You can see there I have ground the edge of it on my grinding wheel, and now it opens cans like a dream. So basically on this one, it's just not sharp enough, essentially. You don't want too fine an edge on a can opener, or it would fail quickly. It would fold over on itself. So I've given it just enough, kept it thick enough, but sharp enough that it now pierces cans and opens them without any trouble at all. So yeah, I like this one, but my good lady wife has taken possession of this one and keeps it on her person because she is forever using her multi-tool after slagging me off for years for carrying a multi-tool. This guy, I did a video about this when I first got it, and then I did an update video a month or 2 later on my long-term thoughts. So here are some more even longer term thoughts. This is the Byberry version of or the clone, I guess, or competitor of the Leatherman Surge. It's the big heavy boy, designed to be heavy duty. I use this as my work multi-tool, and as you can see, it's been through the wars a little bit. It's covered in paint and caulk and filler and all this kind of stuff. It's weighty, it's a substantial piece of kit. The blade is made of 7CR and the other tools are 3CR if I'm not mistaken. I previously bent, and you might be able to pick it up on camera, the tip of this serrated knife. It was worse than that, but I just kind of bent it back into shape. I was using it to pry off a fire exit door sign at work on a door that I was replacing. Why was I using that serrated blade as a pry tool? Your guess is as good as mine. Decent scissors, good big scissors as well. I like these ones, and spring loaded and cut very, very well. They are, though, they do suffer a little bit from the Leatherman Wingman problem of they can be a bit fussy about activating the spring, you need to make sure it's fully liner locked, or the spring won't sit right. And likewise, unless the spring's fully deployed, the liner lock won't fully deploy. Anyone who's had a Leatherman Wingman knows what I'm talking about. But basically, once you've thoroughly opened it and then thoroughly snapped it in place, the scissors work really well. Good scissors, good and sharp, great spring loading, and this nice little comfortable thumb ramp as well. Main blade is Leatherman Surge style. It takes a good edge, doesn't hold it very long, especially not the stuff that I do at work. I'm pretty hard on this guy, but it resharpens very, very easily. So imagine a Leatherman Wave on steroids, basically, and that's kind of where you're at. The T-shank adapter, so the file, yes, another file, but this one at least has a diamond side, which is decent, although the cross-cut side is crap. It has a T-shank adapter so that you can put hacksaw blades and the like in it. It actually comes with this little sleeve with a couple of hacksaw bits, jigsaw bits, and you can work away at that using it as a saw. It won't close with those blades in it though, because they're longer than the file is, so you need to take them out before you close the tool. This little T-shank adapter closing mechanism, if you're using it as a saw, keep your thumb there to stop it from accidentally popping open and kind of loosening off. That's my only feedback on that, my only criticism. It works well. I've even cut Meranti hardwood thin door trim with this, and it worked perfectly well. It's a handy little bit of kit, and I enjoy it. The size of it means that it's very much a belt sheath carry only. You wouldn't throw this guy in your pocket. It's too beefy for that. It would feel like you were carrying a lead weight. It comes with this quite substantial sheath, which has spaces on both sides. I forget what came in the other side when I bought it, to be honest. I usually keep just a work pencil in here. There was something else that came with it when it first arrived, but honestly, can't remember what it was. And I still keep the jigsaw blades in the little sheath that it came with. And of course, I have plenty of jigsaw blades for my actual jigsaw, so should these wear out, I can simply replace them. It has this little elasticated pouch on the front with double-ended bits, security bits, Torx bits, slotted bits, Allen bits, and in the tool itself, you will find the bit driver. So there it is, big chunky pliers. Now this thing, be forewarned, it's a bit of a skin pincher. Quite often it'll catch me here in this fleshy part of my hand, so I wear work gloves when I use it, and that negates that problem. It has replaceable, oh that's what came in the other side. It comes with an Allen key and replaceable, yeah, it comes with an Allen key and replaceable wire cutters in that pouch. I remember now. I haven't worn mine out yet, so I haven't had to replace them, but they work really well. The pliers are very substantial, very meaty, and do a great job. Inside the tool, right, 1/4 inch bit driver, quite chunky, locks in place very firmly, and has a ball detent mechanism, which all these bits come with. You could put standard 1/4 inch bits in it, but because of the ball detent they wouldn't hold as well, but it is perfectly usable, and I have done it in the past. On one of my other Byberries, what I did was I got a little mini neodymium, is that how you say it, magnet, and just dropped it into the bottom so that I could use 1/4 inch bits without them falling out that didn't have a ball detent, and that worked well. Good positive lock on the back, which holds that in place really well. On this side you get 4 tools on the inside, a very substantial awl, a very substantial slotted screwdriver, a more sort of refined, smaller slotted screwdriver, and a can/bottle opener with wire stripper. If you use this as a bottle opener, it will pierce the bottles because it's so sharp, but it still opens them fine, and as a can opener it works terrifically. You also have a rule, scale rule along the inner sides there, and the other sides are rounded off so that it's comfortable in use. This guy, if you're thinking about getting a Leatherman Surge, what does a Leatherman search cost? £190, £200, something like that. This costs £40. So even if you just wanted to buy it to see if a search would be suitable for you, it's not a bad investment. Good bit of kit. Good strong multi-tool. Like that one a lot. Heaviest of the bunch, I think. Although the Victorinox Swiss tool might give it a run for its money in terms of sheer weightiness. This is a Victorinox case that my kids got me, but it's not a Victorinox that's in it. It's my Leatherman Wingman. Had this for years. It's been replaced. It's a bit like Trigger's broom, if you remember Only Fools and Horses. It's been sent back and replaced a couple of times for various reasons on warranty, but as far as I'm concerned, it's still the same Wingman. Good scissors on the outside, but they can be a little fussy on every Wingman to get them to properly latch in place, and then there's a little thumb ramp to use. They maybe don't cut super well if you're doing long cuts, but for small cuts they're perfect. One hand opening blade. This is the one that I did have UK legal modified, but I changed my mind and decided to remove the UK legal mod, just for I felt like it. I wanted to use it at work a bit more, and I wanted to make it a bit more secure there. So that's why I took the UK legal mod back off and put the original washers back in to make it locking again. Partially serrated blade, partially plain edged. I've sharpened mine quite a bit so that the partial serrations are almost plain edge now as well. And you'll see here that I snapped the tip off and I just reground the tip onto it to make a new point. Had this for a long time. They're not the Leatherman Wingman and the Leatherman Sidekick and the Leatherman Rev. They're not quite of the quality of their bigger brothers in the Leatherman line. They're very much the entry level tools, but they don't really have an entry level price these days. So keep that in mind. They're not as cheap as the ones were. These used to be about £40, and that was the kind of entry level price. Now I've seen them like £80, which is, as far as I'm concerned, too much when you can get a Leatherman Bond, which is better, and certainly more like a traditional Leatherman as well, for the same price. It comes with a sort of 2D type Phillips, which is quite chunky. Doesn't lock in place, but it snaps in place with a good secure slip joint type mechanism. That's a notch really. And the same for the slotted screwdriver. The slotted screwdriver is really chunky, good as a pry tool, less so as a screwdriver, because it's so chunky. On this side we have the good, the bad and the ugly. So we'll start with the good. The can opener works really well as a can opener and bottle opener. It has a wire stripper, which again works, but you wouldn't use it. The bad, shit file, which is a screwdriver and a pointless rule. Don't know why it's there. And the ugly and pointless is this package opener. Really weird choice. Don't know why they chose to put these two really weird pointless tools on this multi-tool, but otherwise I like it well enough. Good entry level multi-tool if you're willing to pay the somewhat unreasonable modern day price for them. But that does cover a huge warranty, so bear that in mind. Which I have taken advantage of. This is the modern Molly type pouch that you get with Leathermans nowadays, and this is my Bond, Leatherman Bond. Now I have a bit kit in mine, which is not a Leatherman bit kit, it's just a generic one from a cheaper multi-tool that you'll see the reason why in a moment. The Phillips driver is square, so it's a Phillips 2, and this little adapter here is square at one end and fits over it, and then I can use any number of standard 1/4 inch bits with it. So clever old me made a neat little kit. I happened to be fiddling about with a cheap multi-tool and my Bond and thought that looks like it would fit on there, and lo and behold it did. So I recommend anyone who finds one of these cheap multi-tools that comes with these little bit kits with this square ended / 1/4 inch bit driver ended attachments to buy it and put it in with your Leatherman Bond. It just adds more utility to the set, and it fits neatly inside the pouch as well. The Bond is great. The Bond is a nice bit of kit. Comes with really wide opening needle-nose pliers, great wire cutters, comfortable in the hand because it's got the rolled edges, very similar to the original Leatherman tool, which is appealing to me as well. I like traditional. It was designed for the UK market to be UK EDC legal. There has been some debate about whether it is EDC legal when it's in this configuration. Debate by other YouTubers, I should say, not by the police who've never mentioned it, because basically the law says any folding knife needs to be immediately closable, but that's not immediately closable. However, in this configuration, it is immediately closable, so I'm not too worried about legality where that's concerned. I think that's a moot point, frankly, for me, but others may feel differently. It's got the usual Leatherman can/bottle opener and wire stripper, which works as well as ever. And on the other internal side, you get, hallelujah, a decent multi-tool file. Metal saw on the bottom, good cross-cut, good hatching, actually works well. Also comes with this little lanyard loop. I don't use it for that, never have. And it's got these little holes here for Leatherman belt clip that you can buy. Not really my style to carry a multi-tool on a pocket clip. What else do we have inside here? A good awl. And 2 slotted screwdrivers. So there you go. It's not a huge tool set that you get with it. And of course you've got your measurements on the outside if you want to use it as a mini rule. Not a huge tool set you get with it, but certainly putting this little bit kit with it definitely helps add some utility. It's light, it's good quality, it's well built. I love it. I recommend the Leatherman one to anyone, especially if you're thinking, oh, I'd like to get a Leatherman, but I'm not sure which one, and I've got a limited budget, etc. For about £80, this will last you a lifetime. Great bit of kit. Just beware of rust spots on it. I keep mine oiled as a result. This is the Victorinox Swiss Tool X Plus. There's a bit of a mouthful for you. This is in my opinion, the best built multi-tool on the market. And that's a bold call, and I'm probably going to take flack for it, but I believe it's the best built multi-tool on the market in terms of sheer quality. The case is all heavy duty leather. Huge, sturdy, bomb-proof. You'll see I've been using mine at work, since it's got bits of paint and things on it. It's sectioned off inside for the bit kit, which comes with its own wrench, and I've dropped it, the corkscrew and mini driver, which come with their own little pouch to the side here. Now, how the corkscrew works is, you take out the mini driver first, obviously. You hook it into this little hatch, this little slot in the side of the multi-tool, and that's it. Then it's a corkscrew for a bottle of wine. Fantastic. Swiss engineering at its finest. The bit kit, where have I put it? There we see. Is all standard 1/4 inch bits of a selection of sizes that are not included inside the tool itself. None of these actually fit on the tool. They purely are used in this double-ended bit driver. That's just a sort of standalone toolkit of its own, which works really well and is a nice little inclusion. Onto the tool itself. It's Victorinox, so you know what you're getting. You know it's going to be built to absolute perfection standards, and it is. It has dozens of tools in it. It's really well built, bomb-proof, heavy, which is always a good thing to me. You know, heavy means quality in a lot of people's eyes. It's not always true, but it is in this case. The wire cutters have 2 notches, as you can see, for different size, different gauges. The pliers work wonderfully, the wire cutters work wonderfully. Everything lines up to the millimetre. It's comfortable in the hand with rolled edges. There's no hot spots, there's no sharp spots. It doesn't pinch your skin when it's in use because of the angle here, which I love. And another thing that I love about it is, other than the pliers, all the tools are external. They're all accessed externally, and every single tool on the outside locks. So let's just go through them one by one. Victorinox scissors, you've all seen them, you all know and love them. They'll cut through anything, they're a joy. And they lock, they have this vertically up and down sliding lock, which controls every tool. So lock that, unlock that and let it down. And all, no sewing eye on this all, but perfect piercing tip and a really sharp edge. A Phillips driver. It's a bit of a fingernail hurter to get open. Come on, be tough. There we go. Phillips driver, good quality, square Phillips driver. Again, it locks in place, all of them do. Pull that down to unlock it and release it. They're all really well engineered and slot into each other wonderfully. Eyeglass screwdriver, or mini slotted if you prefer. And in my opinion, and the bar has been set very low admittedly, in my opinion, the best multi-tool file that you can get. Multi-tool files always suck. I've showed you various examples already. This one does not. This one is excellent. It saws through metal, it files wood, it files metal, it's a joy. It works wonderfully. And look at that, not a single bit of play anywhere. Unlock that, put it away, and we're on to this side. Victorinox blade. It's similar to the slightly beefier blades that you get in the 93mm Swiss Army knife models. It's excellent. It's in Victorinox's normal steel. Takes a wicked edge. Needs touched up every so often because of it, because they're not made of a particularly robust steel, but it's a steel that does everything you ask of it and sharpens up wonderfully. Now this you may think is a huge slotted screwdriver. It's really not. It's more of a pry bar. So things like lifting up paint can lids, you're probably never going to find a slotted screw that big, and if you do, well, at least you can use it for that too. Here we have the little chisel. This is a cool tool. So a really sharp chisel at one end and then wire strippers at the other. This chisel is excellent. Now, a chisel's a precision tool, so you wouldn't do a great deal of chiseling with it, but I have used this a lot and I actually had to resharpen it as a result. You can see the scratches on the back there. Great little inclusion. Not a tool that you see often on multi-tools, and one that I really enjoyed that they put on there. Slotted screwdriver, bottle cap lifter and wire stripper. The classic Victorinox can opener works like a dream and has the tiny slotted screwdriver on the top. And the very last tool, an excellent wood saw, really brilliant wood saw. Victorinox wood saws always impress me. I don't know how they do it, but they do it really well. And it'll throw sparks from your fire steel, of course, as well. In my opinion, the best on the market. Victorinox are known for being reasonably priced and very good quality. This one isn't as cheap as its Swiss Army knife models. You do pay more for it. It's in the 3 figures, but worth every single penny in this man's opinion. If you are a knife guy or a guy that wants a really good multi-tool, that's, you know, one and done, the only one you'll never need for the rest of your life, get this. Love it. Can't recommend it highly enough, in my opinion. This one, I don't know where the sheath came from, just, I don't know. I had it lying about from some old shitty cheap multi-tool I must have had. And I decided to put this multi-tool on it. This is the Swiss Plus Tech, I think it's 13-in-1 if I'm not mistaken. I did a video about it a while back, which inexplicably was really well watched. Lots of people liked it, not sure why. Maybe it was my beautiful voice. It's basically a Leatherman Wave clone. That is the closest approximation I can give to its style. It's of decent quality, it's pretty cheap, you're talking £25-ish. It's not going to win any awards for being indestructible. Its file's crap, as always, but it is a nice little tool. I enjoy it. There is a particular clever part about the Phillips drivers that I enjoy. Check this out. There's your Phillips driver, and all these tools lock, which is nice. There's your Phillips 2, but if you want a mini Phillips, you simply unlock the tool and close the Phillips 2, and the little mini Phillips actually sits inside it, which is kind of neat. It's a nice bit of engineering. What else have we got in here? Otherwise, it's pretty similar to a Leatherman Wave. Decent sized slotted screwdriver. It's got the Leatherman Wave style folded scissor inside the handle. You need to kind of unfold on itself and to use it. it works well enough, but they are quite small mouth, but they work. If anyone that's used a Leatherman Wave knows exactly what I'm talking about. A screwdriver slash string cutter. Again, I'd use this as a slotted screwdriver, but never as a string cutter. I just don't see the point in them. And a can slash bottle opener slash wire stripper that works really well. This is a good value tool, and it has this really nice kind of floppy aspect to it, which is nice for kind of one-handed deployment if you want to kind of shoot it open like that, almost like you would get with the Leatherman Free series, you know, the magnet ones, except this isn't magnets, it's just a nice loose build, almost like a Leatherman. Imagine you've had a Leatherman that's really worn in for years and years. Yeah, like that one a lot, and not super expensive. Again, about £25. The Swiss Plus Tech 13-in-1, and I think we're at the end now. You'll be glad to hear. So this is the most recent edition. This is the one that turns up the other week. It's a kind of a cheap clone of the Gerber MP600, you know, the one-handed opening sliding plier head one. I've been playing around with it, and it cost £5. It was literally £5. I mean, I'm not quite sure how they can do it for £5. Well, to be honest, I do know how they can make things and sell them for £5 internationally, but we won't go into that. It's got these kind of, I don't know, what kind of plier is that? Is it for some kind of wire cutting or clamping? Not sure. This bit here is for gripping and turning bolts. This bit here is for cutting wire. This is the bit that I'm a bit perplexed by. I'm sure there's some specific, quite niche reason for this, but I haven't bothered to Google it. The deployment of the sliding plier is inconsistent. Sometimes it works really well, sometimes it doesn't. It's working now on camera, which is nice. You need to have it all the way extended in order to open the tool to access the other bits and bobs which are inside. You've got this piece of spiky pointed metal. You've got a Phillips driver, and I guess that must be a lanyard loop, and a blade, which is partially serrated, partially plain edged. The blade is surprisingly small for the size of the tool. Obviously made of really, really poor cheap metal, because it came dull as dishwater, and trying to get an edge on it, even with a carbide pull through, which, you know, an aggressive sharpener has not been particularly successful. It's worse than mediocre even after multiple attempts at sharpening. So it'll be a passable piercing and tearing implement, but it certainly don't expect fine slicing. All these tools lock open. They're still pretty stiff because I haven't used it an enormous amount, more just kind of playing around with it to see what all the bits do. Here's the, oh yeah, file, brilliant, love those, pointless. That's probably the sturdiest bit of the entire tool. None of the file sides are cut with any kind of aggression, so they're completely superficial, so it wouldn't file anything. But it probably would work as a pry bar. It's nice and chunky, feels quite stout. Let's close that and see what else we've got in here. God, they're hard to open. They're really stiff. It's not a user-friendly experience. Shitty can opener, would definitely not open cans. It's painted black and has no sharp edge. God, these are stiff. This is a horrible experience. Really stiff. Might need to actually loosen this off with a couple of screwdrivers. All that effort for a slotted screwdriver. And last but not least, a smaller slotted screwdriver with a bottle cap lifter. So if you're thinking about getting an MP600 Gerber, feel free. If you're thinking about buying a really cheap, weird multi-tool, this is £5 on AliExpress. The build quality, or the tool quality, I suppose, is reflected in the price. It's an odd one. I think I'll just throw this in the glove box in my car along with the Asda one. And the pouch is really tacky, really cheap, kind of oversized, and has this weird two-way. I don't know if maybe you want to carry it horizontal as well as vertical. I don't know. It's a weird one. So there you go. That's every single multi-tool in my collection. If I had to pick favourites, it's like asking me to pick my favourite child, but I would say Victorinox Swiss Tool Plus, the Leatherman Bond, and the Leatherman Skeletal CX are my favourites of the lot. But I like all of them, with the possible exception of this weird MP600 clone. I like them all in their own ways and for their own reasons. So I hope you find some of that interesting. If you did, give a like and a thumbs up and all that stuff. If you didn't, well, I'm sorry to have bored you. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment and all that stuff if you want to see more content. I do have another video coming up soon where I'm going to be discussing every single fixed blade knife in my collection, so that'll be kind of a long one, just like this one was. So if you want long discussions about multi-tools and long discussions about fixed blades and long discussions about knives and tools in general, subscribe. I'm here all the time. Thanks a lot for listening. Stay safe, stay sharp, take care everyone.